Hey everyone, just before we start, if you or anyone you know is currently being affected by Cyclone Alfred at the moment with the calling off of the games, I think we can forget a little bit that there are still real people out there, footy fans and strangers alike, that are going through a really tough time at the moment. So if you or anyone you know is currently being affected by Cyclone Alfred, I hope, first of all, that you are all safe. I hope you are all okay. I hope that you can take care of yourselves, your possessions as best you can, and can hopefully avoid a lot of damage. And if you are going through it tough right now, my hope is that things can be as okay as they can be as quickly as possible. So love, support, sending as much of it as I can. Footy comes second, you all come first. Now, to the video. I asked for hot takes, you guys delivered. If you're somewhat new here, hot takes is legitimately you guys put in the community thread your hot takes. I read them out, I react to them, I say what I agree and what I disagree about, give my thoughts, you guys have given your thoughts, we can come together beautifully. Some of your hot takes from last year aged like fine wine. Let me tell you, aging like I can only hope to. But alas, we move on. Your hot takes for 25 pre-season edition starts like this. Melbourne top 4 at the end of the home and away season. Great balance of young talent and experience will bounce back into 25. I don't mind the notion of Melbourne finishing in the top 8. I really don't. I don't have a lot of faith in the D's at the moment. I love the hotness of this take, to be honest. Young talent, I do think the young talent's going under the radar a little bit. I'm pumped to see what Van Rooyen can do this year. I'm pumped to see how Caleb Windsor will take his game to another level. I don't know how I feel about him at halfback. I just think he is a natural wingman, but maybe that's because we've only seen him in that spot. He is young, so he'll bring that versatility. Trent Rivers down back, of course. What Petrarca and Oliver will bring at their best is going to be super interesting. I love the spiciness. You get 10 out of 10 for the spiciness, and it's okay that we disagree. That's what good footy content is for. Jack Higgins to make the All-Australian squad, kicked 36 goals, averaged 1.8 a game, I assume you mean last year. One of the better small forwards going around in the comp. So this is kind of split into two parts here, I feel. Let's start with the All-Australian squad one. I don't mind it in the slightest. St Kilda are going to need some options up forward. Max King's just had surgery on his knee. Tim Membry is not there. He is next best in line, and he did win St Kilda's goal kicking last year. So I've got no qualm about Jack Higgins being an underrated player. What really annoys me about Jack Higgins, and Josh Jenkins got this a little bit throughout that 2017 season as well, is if you are going to set up a game style where Joe the Gooses are possible, how is that a bad thing? We knock players for getting uncontested possessions, but that's like 30 a game with no impact. A goal's a goal, whether it's on the goal line or from 55 out. So I have no idea why one of the commentators, can't remember who said it, that Higgins was the best forward moving downhill. So would you rather him not score? Are we really going to put a sense of morality on the way players kick goals? No, of course not. If you're good enough to get to the right spot, you deserve the reward. I don't mind the All-Australian squad call, depending on how many small forwards they go with. Can he have an impact? Absolutely, and he probably is the number one option at the Saints right now. So I don't mind this in the slightest. Orazio Fantasia has a 30-plus goal season, I assume you mean, and gets back to his best. This is spicy. I like the Carlton conversation that's kind of taken place this preseason that I put in my real or fake Carlton hype video. He looked solid. I'm not going to deny that for a moment. Looked pretty good. I've probably got more faith in Ashton Moyer, but if Michael Voss and the Carlton contingency have Fantasia there alongside Jesse Motlop as their round one small forwards, awesome. Could definitely happen. Back to his best. I don't think he's had a 40-plus goal season in his career. I could be wrong on that. So back to his best. If that 30-plus is deemed around his best, I still find it unlikely. I'm more comfortable with a 15 number, but again, I like the spiciness. He's one of those players that I am firmly in the I'll believe it when I see it camp. Love that you've gone early. Both goal and mark of the year will be taken within the first 6 weeks of the home and away season. So I'm actually going to give you a leg up here, Shadowlight. I will say between opening round and round 6, considering there are only going to be 2 games on in opening round, so I will happily go from opening round to round 6 there. Again, I love the boldness of this one. I can't really agree or disagree. If you want a tip for who I think is going to win either of those awards, I think Isaac Rankin's got goal of the year pretty sewn up, and I think Shea Bolton can win his second mark of the year. I think he's just going to light up Optus Stadium one night. He could do both in the same game, to be perfectly honest, but I think Shea can win one of them, and I think Isaac can just produce a little bit of magic, maybe at Adelaide Oval, to take home goal of the year. We shall see, and we'll keep an eye on this one. Freo bust under expectations. Now, I don't actually know what you mean by this. Is it top 4, top 8? I think it's definitely possible. As much as I am buying into Freo this year, it is not a fait accompli that they are going to be a great or even good side, to be perfectly honest. So I'm not 100% sure just how hot takey this is, but if Freo are going to be in as many top 8s and top 4s as they are seemingly around right now, I can understand this. I don't think Freo being crap, and by crap I mean top 12, anywhere in that top 12 I don't think would surprise me, although I am firmly in the top 6 over next 6, if you will. I think they'll be in the 1 to 6 category rather than 7 to 12. Anything under 12th would be an unmitigated disaster and worthy of like a 40-minute breakdown, I feel like. I'm lumping these two together because they're so similar. Riley Thilthorpe makes the All-Australian squad and finishes top 3 in the Coleman medal. And then we've got someone else here saying 60-plus goals, comes 3rd in the Coleman. That's pretty cool that you've both got top 3 there, and makes the All-Australian. Now, I so wish that the Clayton Oliver and Jason Horne-Francis videos did better, but they unfortunately didn't. That's fine, because the other two player insight videos and player breakdown videos that I wanted to do was, 3rd was Riley Thilthorpe and the 4th one was Will Ashcroft. Didn't get those done. You guys weren't watching them. That's fine. I do not say that with any ungratefulness or spite, I promise you, but you guys weren't watching it. I stopped doing it. That's how this works. Welcome to content creation. If only mainstream media took advantage of that philosophy. Anyway, yeah, I'm fully on board the Thriller train. I just think and hope that he does not do much centre bounce work. I think Thriller needs to play the Tom Hawkins role. Play him out of the square, get Fogarty to that 30 and 60 mark. Tex Walker needs to be the 3rd tall, which means that Thriller and Fog are going to have to get off to a good start, because you're still going to pay the Tex a lot of respect, I feel. But Thriller, top of the square, Ruckman in the forward 60 to 70 metre zone, and just let him bulk out. So many times in his 7 games last year where he took a one-on-one contested mark and you just went, that is Tom Hawkins Jr. That's just what he reminded me of. So I'm with you, all aboard the Thriller train. I wish I could claim myself as the train driver. I'm happily a passenger, maybe just in the first class section, hopefully. Connor Rozee and Clayton Oliver both finished top 5 in the Brownlow. This could be my favourite hot take in terms of it's a crazy world that happens, but not an impossible one, versus so spicy in terms of no Errol, no Bont early on. Those games are going to affect, as we know, players, especially as polling numbers do go up, which of course any set of data that you look at, or data if you pronounce it that way, I flip-flop between the two, to be honest. You are just going to see the players that play the most games are obviously going to poll more votes. That is just the way that it goes. Rozee with no butters, Oliver returning to his best is going to be so watchable, I think, from an umpire point of view, that they both could poll really well. I love the spiciness of top 5, because top 10 to 12 might be a little bit safe. Mwah, chef's kiss. I don't think either of them are true, but that makes me love the take more. Shout out to you, my friend. This is awesome. Dogs bottom 4, Crows top 4. Either of these that spicy? I'm seeing more and more Adelaide top 8 teams, or top 8 predictions, I should say, which I'm not going to lie to you, as someone that had Adelaide in his top 4 last year, is starting to annoy me. Is just getting on my nerves a little bit. If I was a year ahead of my time, I'm going to get no credit for it, and it's going to drive me up the wall. Dogs bottom 4 is interesting. As we know, with their horrific injuries, what's Bevo going to be able to do? All those questions are going to be asked. I like this. I like how balanced it is. There's one good, one bad in there. Mesh them both together. You get some predictions that are not heavily favoured, but I can see a world where things go equally right and wrong to make both of these come true. If you gun to my head, one of these I think will come true. I think it's a better chance that the Dogs finish bottom 4 than the Crows finishing top 4. Can both happen? Yes, it can. I'm gonna go with neither of them, though. I love the take, though. Harry Sheezel finishes top 5 in the Brownlow medal this year. Hard to deny how much I love this. I am a Harry Sheezel fan. I don't think there is a guy who has continuously risen up my favourite non-Hawks in the competition. He is definitely there, and I don't know why mainstream media keep doing their top 10 players, their top 25 players, their top 50 players. I like when content creators do it, because there's no need to be a shock jock when it comes to content creation, I don't think. So, you know, Riles Macker did his, loved that. I love the thought process, whether you agree or disagree with any particular pick. There is always really good reasoning behind it, whereas just a graphic with no context, which is what most mainstream footy media content producers do, there's just no context there. Therefore, The reaction is so quick and so over the top that it's a bit crazy. I just want to know people's favourite players. If I'm at a pub, we know that meme that guys can sit around and talk about random 90s and 2000 sports players for 6 hours and have a fantastic day. That is so true. And I, again, would much rather if I met you, say, in person, or if you were a stranger and I was talking to you in a pub, I don't care who your favourite player in the competition is, who you think the best player in the competition is, and I mean that with love because, again, there's no right, there's no wrong answer. I would rather know who your favourite player in the competition is or your favourite player all time, especially one that didn't play at your club, because the conversation that stems post that is so much more interesting. Yeah, I would love to know from, say, a Brisbane fan out there why you grew up, say, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, and just for some reason your favourite opposition player was Travis Varco. Yeah, I would discuss that with you. That would be 2 hours of my life gone. And I love that. I love the Shees. This is a long-winded explanation. North are going to have to win 8-9 games for that to be possible, and competing with Luke Davies-Uniacke as well in a free agency season. I would love to see it happen. What I would love to see more, though, is can you imagine if Harry Sheezel and Nick Dacos tied for a Brownlow? It doesn't have to be this year, but if Nick doesn't win it this year, and say next year, he and Sheezel tie for it, the spice, the level of just, that brings. That is a warm footy hug for me. Amazing. So, from someone's favourite player of all time to Harry Sheezel finishing top 5 in the Brownlow, I don't think he will, just because I think North are not going to give him the opportunity in the wins column to do so. Would not surprise me if it did, though. I mean, how good is he, for crying out loud? 4 new teams break into the top 4. I only wish, if I had one wish, call me Ray J, if I had one wish, I wish you could have told me which 4 teams. Brisbane, cheat code, probably, and then from there it is wide open. You've got the Hawks, Carlton, you've got the Bulldogs, you've got, if you're a believer in the Pies, if I haven't said them already, if you're a believer in Gold Coast, awesome, I love that. Adelaide, do you think Melbourne are going to rise? I wish you had told us which teams, because the take is great. The Palmer is cooked well, but I need the chips on the plate. North Melbourne finish inside the top 10. So I think 10th last year won 12 games from memory, or 11. That's a big call as someone who is firmly buying into North this year. Probably a step too far for mine. Love the spiciness of it. Can't say I agree with it though, unfortunately. Freo have the most All-Australian players than any other club. I can 100% see the logic in this if you're as big a believer in Freo as I am. There is a world, and I'm not saying all of these are going to come true, but one of their tall forwards could make it. Shea Bolton could make it. Brayshaw Sarong could make it. Luke Jackson, maybe? I struggle to see how that could work. And then you've got Ryan and Jordan Clark fully fit. I know Alex Pearce was probably on pace last year. That becomes more unlikely as he gets older. How will the body hold up, etc. It's a bold call. I think you'll need 3 or 4. Sarong was definitely in mine. I think Shea is a big chance. Maybe one of their key talls. Maybe. I like it though. I think we might get a good mixture of clubs this year because of how even it is. A little bit like last year. I'm sorry I didn't click the read more here, but I know what it says. Matty Nicks gets sacked before the bye. Crouch and Laird get banished to the Sandful, and Crows make the finals under an interim coach. The middle bit there, it is what it is. I think Laird's going to go to half-back, back pocket, and be fine. I've spoken about that quite a bit throughout the season. Crouch, if Laird's not there, then Crouch as the second option's not that bad. I still don't think it's great. I worry that it's going to be a bit like Tom Mitchell. Yes, Mitchell in the finals was outstanding, and Crouch, look, if he can reproduce that a little bit, the Collingwood version of Tom Mitchell, that's good. Not sure if he can. Yeah, the disposals are great. What's it leading to? Adelaide going to be an elite clearance team this year, scoring from clearance team this year. What's he going to be like from a metres per disposal point of view is going to be really interesting. Again, you've still got Saligo and all these other Adelaide midfielders that might break in there. Nick's getting sacked, and then, so we have to assume he's getting sacked because they're bad. And I don't know when Adelaide's bye is, but how bad would the start have to be before he got sacked? 3-8. If they're 3-8 and make the finals from there under an interim coach, Scott Burns maybe might be their interim coach. I haven't looked at their coaching panel in a while. That would be insane. Insanely cool. What a storyline that would be. And last but not least, Richmond lose 5+ games by 100+ points. Do they have enough experience early on to stop this? I'm not sure. North Melbourne conceded 100+ points in their first 11 games last year, and I think 12 of their first 14, and 18 for the season. I think Richmond are going to be looking at those numbers. I will say they will lose 3. games by over 100 points. I think it'll happen more so in the latter part of the year as the youngsters get tired, and teams that play them in the run home might need the percentage boost. So that's what I'm thinking. So there we go, guys. Your hot takes. Hawthorn versus Sydney kicks off Friday night. I'll be recording my reaction to that video, which will either be part of my Hawthorn reaction series in 25 or How Did They Win if it's really close, where I break down the latter parts of close games to see what went right, what went wrong. So fingers crossed you can jump on board for the season. Thank you so much for helping me hit over 4,800 subscribers before the season starts. We are close to 5,000, which is a milestone that just seems genuinely impossible to me. I am really grateful for that. Shout out to you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you liked the video. Subscribe to join the Daz Talks footy family. I should say enjoy the rest of pre-season. Can the Hawks for the first game of 25. And good luck to your team if they are also playing in opening round or gearing up for round 1. I can't wait to bring you everything from the season, and hopefully you can't wait to watch it either. Thank you again, and goodbye.